we're on to something here.
And
Right,
we're
Benny?
on to something here. Yes, we are. We have our detective hats on, so stay tuned, listeners.
Stay tuned. If you thought that we could only bring Bernice Beaver back from the dead, that's all we're capable of, you are dead wrong, because there is even more mystery to solve on episode 188 of the Belligerent Beavs podcast. Hit it.
Hit it. Listeners, you will want to stay tuned. I think this will be a nice distraction from the awful weekend that we all had to endure.
What weekend?
The awful 3 weekends combined.
Yeah, what weekends are you talking about? So
Yeah.
I've been, well, if you recall, actually, Benny, first, good to see you. But
Good
also,
to see
if you recall, I've been coaching baseball games throughout all of our games thus far.
You lucky dog.
Except my phone blowing up every 2 seconds with you and Terry. Hey, you guys might not notice that Terry is not here. You may not notice it too. If you do, that's fine.
It will
But
be a
Terry's
short
not
episode.
here. Terry is in San Jose, California, covering the Minnesota Lynx versus the Golden State Valkyries playoff game. And it looks like it's a pretty good game right now. 8.5 left in the fourth quarter of game 2. Valkyries are up 7, 63-56.
Yeah. Terry's
Go
sweating.
Valks, baby.
Terry's sweating.
Love it. Love it. Though the Lynx just made a 3-pointer to cut it
Damn.
to 7 points. Anyways, no Terry today. Maybe Benny next week. This is just like
It's a weird
me
couple
with everybody
weeks.
else, me with
Yeah.
everyone else, and me not watching most of these games because of fall ball baseball, Little League baseball. However, due to a extremely prolonged delay, I watched like the first 5 minutes, watched it go into a delay, left for the field, and then came back, and it was like halftime. And I was very confused.
Yeah.
Very, very confused. How did you endure the lightning delay?
I just watch other college football games. It was the weather guys were trying to save us, but yeah. I have you have YouTube TV, right?
That's why I thought I had it like paused or something and recorded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I also have YouTube TV, and I had the quad screen up with a bunch of different games going on and just highlights going on the Oregon State screen for 2.5 hours. Yeah.
So I thought that when I got back, and you guys told me, yeah, it was a long delay. I thought, the score still didn't look great by the time I had started watching, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, what was the
maybe.
score at halftime?
It was 28-0.
20. Yeah, that's pretty
And
bad,
I was
but
like,
yeah.
maybe. I didn't know if there was a secondary delay, right? Like if some other like storm cell had shown up and caused it to delay even longer. Because when I was leaving, I remember the commentator saying, we've been told this is a fast moving storm, so it should be out of here shortly. And
I put
there
my
was literally-
Doppler hat on. I was watching it.
You were watching the storm?
I was watching the Doppler radar.
Nice.
Yeah,
Love it.
It was interesting because they would say every time a lightning strikes within 7 miles of the stadium, it has to be delayed another 45 minutes. So it would like get close, and then they'd be like, it's delayed another 45 minutes. So there's like a lightning strike every half hour or so, and they would just push it back. So it was tough to like walk away from the TV because there was this perpetual like, oh, it's going to start back up in, 20 minutes. And yeah, it never did. Well, it eventually did, but for a long time it did.
It never did. Fever family. That game never started again. It was
It
over.
was a fever dream.
Yeah. And you know what? This whole season's just been a fever lightning storm dream.
Oh my God.
It's all in
Dude.
your minds. It's all in your minds.
I was going
So-
back and forth with Terry of which season has been worse so far. Is it this season or the 2018 season? And I think there's arguments to be made that this season is worse.
I think that's a fair argument, honestly, because the way I look at it is with Anderson, it felt like okay, he's picking up the pieces and maybe he's got the pedigree, right? When he first comes over, and we were excited about that, though very confused about the arrangement itself and how it all came to be. And then it was like, all right, yeah, just wait till he gets his guys. You always kind of have that feeling of like, there might be a little bit of, a little falling off, but let's just see it through. So it almost like disintegrated quietly.
And we also had a couple seasons of pretty subpar football, so there wasn't the expectation that was built up like there was.
People were ready
this season.
Riley leaving was like a blessing in disguise because Oregon State wasn't going to dump him.
No.
And the perspective was, we're stuck in this until that guy croaks because he's not dumping Oregon State. And so it was like, thank you. We've gotten to a resolution. There's a finale to this. No one's hearts are broken. I might be very surprised that he left for Nebraska, but I'm not that Nebraska wanted him. But I'm not mad he left because I'm relieved almost. And maybe we can turn things around now. But Gary, it just didn't turn around, and it just slowly got worse, and we got below expectations, really, I guess is the right way to say it.
Yeah, but it had been below expectations for a couple seasons. So like 2018 comes around and it's like, we suck. We sucked last year. We sucked the year before that. So, getting blown out by these teams, we had sort of been conditioned for it. Whereas this year, it felt like it. I mean, the argument can be made that last season ended on the last half of the season was terrible. But I think getting Maalik in, having Clemens coming back, having Sauce coming back, having Hankerson coming back, like you're a little not quite sure what to expect with the offensive line, not quite sure what to expect with the defense, specifically the defensive line. But I felt like expectations were relatively high, especially getting Maalik Murphy at quarterback.
They were fair.
Yeah, they were fair.
Even if they were high, they were fair.
That's a good way of putting it.
Oregon State has been known to develop offensive lines quickly when needed. We've been known to develop running backs regularly.
Yeah.
As they come up and take the reins as the starter. We've seen what happens when we have very athletic and dynamic wide receivers. We've seen what Bray can do leading a defense. All of these things were bubbling up to be better. And then the one missing piece that everyone felt like, well, if only last year, if only this, it was always if the quarterback play was even average.
Yeah.
We would have had a better season and a lot of games would have gone differently. And now our quarterback play is the best we've seen in years.
It's good. Well, and on top of all of that, the schedule was so favorable for us, right? We kept on talking about if you can get through the first 5 games and be 3-2, the rest of the season shapes up pretty nicely for you. And those games that we were pen in the W. It's are we sure? Are we sure we're going to go to Tulsa and beat them?
We were wrong.
Let's
admit it. Let's admit it. We were wrong. We were wrong. A lot of people were wrong. It wasn't far-fetched to assume on paper. We did mock the Vegas over-under on wins.
Yeah.
But man, Vegas always wins. Vegas always wins. And I'm glad I keep thinking about that. I keep thinking that in the back of my head every week of futile football, that what did Vegas know or see more clearly without orange colored lenses that we couldn't see? And I still don't know what they saw, because this isn't something that you look at talent on paper and go, yeah, this is like a 5 or 6 win team. Was it 5.5 was the win line?
6.5.
6.
And I think even if we were playing in the Pac-12, with everything we talked about, 6.5 would probably have been fair for if we were still playing in the Pac-12. But the fact that we're playing Louisiana, Lafayette, and Tulsa, and I mean, the bottom of the barrel of the ACC with Wake Forest and Cal, it's like 6.5. Like, there's 6.5 or there's 7 games that we for sure are going to win. The rest are toss-ups, and then at Oregon and at Texas Tech are always going to be really tough. But like, if you would have won one of the 3 toss-up games at Wazoo, Cal, or I guess at Wazoo, Cal, and Houston, and at App State, if you would have won one of those games, right? It's like, okay, it's 7.
Yeah. But also,
yeah,
Cal maybe less of a toss-up than we felt it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
In all fairness, I think that was maybe one that was the most overlooked by us and really just most fans.
The Beaver fans. Yeah.
Yeah. And whatever, you know, we weren't prepared. We weren't ready. And that was hopefully when you would just sweep under the rug, be more prepared. We weren't more prepared. We looked less prepared. And now we look totally lost.
We have looked more unprepared as the season progresses in every single game. Like this team, to me, it seems like Bray has lost his team in the locker room. 100. Like, it doesn't even seem like that to me.
No
like, I think
argument
that's
there.
Pretty obvious.
No argument perception-wise. That's how it appears. It looks like Bray has lost the locker room. Not in a sense of that they've rebelled against him, but that they look just disinterested. Because even if he's preparing them 100%, it's one or the other. They're totally disinterested or they're unprepared. And
I think it's
either way, the outcome is you kind of lose the locker room. You lose the trust. You lose the interest. You lose the motivation. I'm not saying it can't be regained. And I hope that this season can still be rebounded and be successful. I think, was it who wrote something? Dashel? No, he's not. Somebody else wrote something, and I don't know. Hopefully it wasn't Orem, because I don't want to talk about that guy. But
I think it was Kerry Eggers.
Maybe it was Eggers. It was said about no team has. It was Orem. Damn it. Either way, no team has started a season 0-4 and made a bowl eligibility.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be bowl eligible this year. Like, there's no doubt about. Like, I guess what frustrated me about the game at Texas Tech is specifically on defense, you had guys that were just not rushing to the ball. There were guys that were visibly
there was
jogging out there.
No urgency.
And I think that once you lose a team in a locker room, it's very much like realizing that a relationship is over and you're starting to look elsewhere, right? Like, you realize that the relationship you're in is done. You start thinking like, well, if I'm single, like, what am I going to do? Like, right? And I think that's what's happening. I think you have players that are in this situation and they're like, well, where am I going to go next year? Right? Like, that's, and I think when that happens, I wasn't a college football player, but I can only imagine when that happens, that is really tough to rein back in.
Yeah.
Like once that thought creeps into somebody's head, like, it's almost impossible to get them back.
So do you think that, okay, I'll preface with, we all were under the assumption that, mostly because who was potentially waiting in the wing, but DJU was a rental.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
The expectation from the beginning was that DJU was a rental.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's even a more new world than it was then when it comes to the portal and NIL, but I never really initially felt that Murphy would be a rental. I thought from where the trajectory of what his career has done thus far, of having nowhere to go at Texas, getting essentially pushed out at Duke.
Yeah.
Duke, who kind of won the battle for him over Oregon State the first time he was in the portal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now he goes to his plan B, right? Like his backup prom date.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, there's no way he could leave again and go somewhere else.
Yeah,
no way.
Not a great look playing at 4 different schools in 4 different years.
Yes. But now it is a different world. I do worry, and I think that this is his one and done with us. And it's not the same one and done as DJU. I was like, he could just go pro. If he has a good year, he could go enter the draft and maybe sign as an undrafted free agent or be a late round draft pick. That's his dream. Now it just feels like we have a $1 million quarterback that has clearly had a lack of execution around him, and we are going to see zero dividends of that investment.
Yeah, I think he's without a doubt in my head, he's gone. And for a couple reasons. I think one, Maalik thinks that he can play in the NFL. I mean, if you're playing quarterback at the level that Maalik is, like, why wouldn't you? And he's not going to be able to showcase his skills at Oregon State when the offensive line is a breached dam. And when I think it's obvious that you have an offensive coordinator who's not necessarily putting him in the best position to showcase what his abilities are. And I think even if it was just that, he would be gone. But the other part of it is there going to be enough money to give him the same amount of money that we did this year? And maybe it won't need to be that because other schools are not, he's not going to be as wanted by other schools because he came off of a pretty good season at Duke, and that's
a record-setting season.
Yeah. And so, like, I can only imagine that the NIL money for Oregon State is going to go down after this year.
Well, apathy doesn't drive revenue.
Right.
Excitement does.
Yeah.
And
I think there's going to, and I think the other part of it too is, like, if there better be a new coaching staff next year, like, I think it's pretty obvious that there is going to be a new coaching staff next year.
How obvious?
And maybe I shouldn't say there better be, but I think
want to talk about this a little bit too. I do want to also just say, was there anything from the game that you took away as a positive?
No, there's nothing. I guess a couple of things that stood out to me is, number one, it's been 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and 2 weeks, I guess. We still haven't figured out a long snapping situation, which to me is inexcusable. After the 1 week, it's like, okay, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but now it's 2 weeks. Like, you have to have somebody where you're not punting out of shotgun position. You're not having your quarterback punt the ball.
Yeah.
So that stood out. The lack of intensity on defense stood out, and the inability to run combined with our inability to pivot from the run. We just kept on running and kept on getting 1 yard, negative 1 yard, right? Like, it was just consistently.
We had a negative plays totaled 28 yards, and positive plays on the run totaled 36 yards for a net total of 8 yards.
Yeah. And how many times did we run the ball? A lot. It felt like a lot.
We did get 3 first downs on those 8 yards total. So we ran the ball 22 times, which was half the number of Texas Tech, but they ran infinitely more plays than we did. Yeah, less than half a yard per rush. Not good.
Anthony Hankerson ran the ball 11 times and he had 12 yards.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think obviously you could chalk it up to the line, but again, Oregon State has never had a problem with a next man up offensive line. They've never had a problem with a next man up running back situation because every single time it's decent or close enough, and it's not right now. And also, it might not be a talent thing this time as a siloed situation compared to other times that our line looked good, rated high, whatever. It might be a scheme thing, adjustments thing. When you know what talent you have or don't have, you maximize what you've got. You don't just keep beating your head against the wall.
Yeah.
And I still think, as much as to call it out, Gundy rebounded quite a bit against Fresno State. I didn't feel like I saw that same level again. I saw like a Cal level play calling against Texas Tech.
I thought so too. And Texas Tech's defense is good, but you have to come up with a game plan that was better than the game plan that was put together.
You just have to try to put your players in a position to win, not just do the things that you know they're not going to be able to do over and over and over and over and over again, or do the things you did last week because they worked and do it over and over and over again. Like, you have to adjust to your opponent. You have to adjust to your personnel. You have to adjust to the situation. And all of those things just seem to not line up when they need to, and seem to line up when it wasn't intentionally lining up. Like, oh, wow, that worked out good. Not like, oh, that worked out because I planned for it to work out like that. It has to be intentional. It has to be thought through from every angle. And I don't know, I'm not an offensive coordinator. Shit, I barely can make a lineup for Little League, but I still think about this stuff. I feel like harder than maybe some of our staff does. I don't know. I don't want to throw them all on the bus. I think also, let's just chalk it up to the fact that where we are in this moment is not Texas Tech's level. Period.
No. That was always going to be a tough game to win. Like, even if we were meeting expectations to the season, that was going to be a tough game to win. But and let's be honest, we got 2 garbage time touchdowns at the end. That game was 45-0.
And we got an extra point. We kicked an extra point. See, something to celebrate. That's what I was going to take away. Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I don't know. That game was super ugly. I knew it was going to be bad. I honestly kind of figured it was going to be that bad, if I'm being honest. But it sucked to see it actually come to fruition.
I mean, and the score doesn't really reflect how dominated we were. I mean, not just the garbage touchdowns, but like, I know a 45-0 loss would also look pretty bad.
Yeah.
But the way that Texas Tech was in control for everything, at least I got to see, it felt like a 28-0 halftime score was favorable. Like, for how easy they could just move the ball and how easy they could stop us when they were on defense. It was
like watching a JV versus varsity game. Like, it was so clear that we are outmatched in coaching and outmatched by just the talent on the field.
Yeah. And I don't know where we go from here.
It's to Eugene, and that's going to be awful.
It's awful, not because of our team's talent. It's awful because it's Eugene. Let's be real. But it's also doubly awful because, no offense to the people who live in Eugene who listen to us, I'm sure you found a perfect spot that is very enjoyable and matches everything you could dream of for a living situation. Maybe not, but I don't want to go there ever. No. I will never go to a game at Autzen. I will never go to Eugene. The only time I go to Eugene is when my kids have to pee while we're driving up I-5 back to Portland from California. And that many a times I don't stop there. Are you going to go to the game, Benny?
No, but I do want to make a point of the game. So I'll preface this all by saying the Seattle Mariners, how's this going to tie together? The Seattle Mariners were doing pretty poorly, and they were letting the playoffs slip through their fingers. There's a fan who went on to Etsy and got, quote, an Etsy witch to cast a spell on the Mariners. They went on from that point to win 10 straight games and go on to get the division lead for the AL West, which they lost tonight. But my point remains, 10 straight games. After a spell was cast, I went on to Etsy and found an Etsy witch. And I had her cast a bad spell on the Oregon Ducks.
I think
so.
If love this,
there's hope.
But maybe it worked because it was a positive spell. I think you need both angles.
No, maybe I'll go back onto Etsy then.
I think you need both angles. Let's just cover all our bases, and
I'll find another one.
Yeah, different person.
Find a different one.
Is it this? Wait, who's the one who did the? I had a fly just like come out of my mouth. That was so weird. Who was the witch that did the Mariners? Who was the good witch that did the Mariners spell?
I don't know. Man, I wish I would have.
You have to
I
find
have to
it.
find out.
You have to find it. See if you can just search Etsy for like the Good Witch that
The
that
Good
blessed the
Witch.
Mariners with her spell. Find them, and
I feel like witch is a derogatory term, but that's what the
Wiccan.
Seattle Mariners, Wiccan. Her name is Mystic Morwen, is the one who cast a spell on Oregon. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll find somebody else. Thank
Big
you, Mystic
fan of
Morin.
Mystic Morin.
Yeah.
But now we need to go find the Good Witch and get some spells for us.
Yeah.
I think that I think that's a good idea. I think it's money well spent.
For sure.
Better than donating it to Blueprint Sports. Oh.
Let's talk about it. This is what we were alluding to at the beginning of the episode.
Better than donating it to our pseudo NIL collective. No, but I before we go there, I just gotta say I did predict that Oregon State would beat Oregon. Come at me, Duck fans. I know you're watching. You tune in all the time on YouTube. I see you, but I'm gonna walk that back. I'm going to walk that back, and I'm going to say, y'all have your fun. Go ahead. Beat us into a brag and boast. Puff your chests. I don't know. Bang your head against the wall. Whatever you weirdos do it. Live it up. Live it up. Live it up. Yeah, I can't really defend this program at the moment enough to say, no, we're coming for you. Good luck, as I've done for the last, I don't know, 20 plus years as a Beaver fan and student and alum. So yeah, I think that this game is going to be a difficult watch unless the Good Witch does a lot of good things, and the Bad Witch, Mystic Moran or whatever her name is, Morwen, does a lot of bad things. And I love when bad things happen. It makes things fun. But I'm walking it back. I think we're going to be 0-4, and boy, it's going to be an interesting final 2/3 of the season.
Yeah. The line opened up at 35.5, and I think that's generous. I think that's really generous.
I just saw Mystic Morwen fly past me.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
She's in the house. Mystic Morwen in the house.
I need to kill this gnat.
Dude, I had a fly. So I had cameras on in my first meeting this morning at work, and I had a fly that kept landing on me, and I had my like screen blurred. So it was this fly that was just coming, like it looked like it just appeared and just shooing it away the whole time. Yeah.
I had a fly that could have, I had a big old fly. What's the music playing from?
I don't know. There's no music over here.
Okay. What is going on?
Mystic Morwen's in the house.
Oh my God, this is haunted. Oh, it's playing on my watch. It was playing on my watch. Whoa. Dude.
Oh, the look of pure fear.
I was like, what is going on? This is super crazy. I don't say, but the Lynx won at the buzzer by one. God damn it. Have fun, Terry. Have fun,
Terry.
Bud. Yeah. Get a job, Terry. To quote
Greg
get a
Oden. Job, Terry.
Yeah.
Did they win the series?
Yeah, I think it's best of 3, right?
Yeah, it's best of 3.
Yeah, it's over. Damn it.
So let's both feel better. Let's talk about Blueprint Sports. Because I think not only will this be a good distraction for Oregon State fans, but I think it's really important that Oregon State fans are made aware about things.
Yeah, well, I think this is our collective. This is the ownership group, essentially, of our collective now. I had not seen a ton of chatter or commentary or really anything about the transaction of Blueprint Sports acquiring Damnation Collective.
Which did happen. This already did happen.
This is done. Yeah, this is done. Yeah. If you missed it, about a month ago, it was announced by Oregon State and Damnation that there was a lot of changes underway. One was that Kyle, who was leading Damnation, would be brought into the athletic department to be the GM of all sports for the athletic department, presumably to help them navigate the rev sharing and everything else that's changing internally that they don't have a lot of experience with by legal design up to this point. And his expertise could help really drive that component and a lot more being internal. But then it was also announced at the same time that Blueprint Sports was acquiring Damnation and it would run the collective from this point forward. And when the announcement happened, of course, I was wondering, what's this mean for our dudes, Kyle and PM? Like they built this thing from the ground up. They've got a lot of great student interns leading the charge on content. I think Beavs report was also helping them out. I mean, there's a lot of great people involved in so many facets of this collective. So my first thing was, what does it mean for everyone there? And looked into it and realized it really just meant, hey, this name and entity still exists, but as you know it and who's behind it, it's all gone. It's gone. It's something else. And I'll be blunt. Like, I forgot that this was something that I was wanting to dig into more. I just the season started and then it just kind of rolled into, at least for me, like the kids' school year and all the other fall activities and things that it fell off my radar.
Yeah.
But as things have progressed poorly on the results front this football season, I would have looked into it more and wondered, who the hell is Blueprint Sports?
And why did we make this deal?
And why did we make this deal? I mean, the answer's there, I guess, on a surface. Kyle couldn't do run a collective and be in the athletic department at the same time. There's too much of a conflict of interest. But how did we land on Blueprint was really kind of the question I wondered. And like, it's not like they're touting a big, no offense to the schools listed or our own, but their client list, it's all right? I mean, you've got Syracuse, you've got Penn State.
I think North Carolina State's on there.
Yeah, you got
Nevada.
UCLA, if that makes you excited about anything. Georgia Tech.
Not this year.
I mean, like there's some names. Maryland, I don't know, Boston College, I guess. Villanova, depending on what sport they're involved with. But like, yeah, I mean, it's not like the star-studded, like, celebrate the fact that we're in this list and being powered by this NIL conglomerate. And so you have to wonder, how do we get involved in this? I don't know. Either way, as things started to mount up with performance and wondering specifically about Maalik Murphy, who did sign with the collective and the university, maybe in the inverse, right? Sign with the university and then to the collective. Air quotes. But what's it mean for him? We talked about him. Is he a one and done? Is he going to want to stay? And is he going to get the financial backing that he assumed he would get or expects to get or already got with a new team behind the collective? And it's not just him. There's other sports. There's other athletes within the football program where this changes a lot of the dynamicism of the relationships between player, agent, and representative of said collective. It also changes things around donors.
Mm-hmm.
Damnation survived quite a bit off of, and got to this point off of its marketing efforts to grassroots fundraise and build a deep enough pocket to be impactful for Oregon State athletics. I don't know, given how detached Damnation now seems, that I can lean on them to say, hey, no matter how bad it gets, we're going to put our money where our mouth is to make sure we can build from where we're at. And I think that's a huge concern.
The other big concern that I have is it was not in-house, but it was in-house in the sense that it was run by people that had a vested interest in Oregon State sports. And
we talked about this on our channel, on our social medias. So I'm with you.
This is what they do. They run NIL collectives, and they run it for a plethora of other schools, like we talked about. And so who are they fighting for? Because if it comes down to Penn State and Oregon State, obviously Penn State can offer more money, but what if it's the same amount of money that's being offered for a particular player to go to Penn State or Oregon State? Now, if you're Oregon State and it's being run by people who have a vested interest in the success of the university and not just a paycheck, then I like our chances. We have a lot to sell. But if it's being run by the same person or the same company that's running Penn State, where does their loyalty lie? And is there
a conflict of interest?
Is there a conflict of interest, or is it just, are they just saying, well, we treat each school equally? Like, I don't want to be treated equally as some other school. I want someone who's fighting for Oregon State. And that's not the case. That's been taken away.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a fair concern. And I think that more fans should wonder about that, honestly. Look, their roster, I just listed that off. Where the hell did it go? Georgia Tech, Rutgers, Syracuse, Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, Penn State, Arkansas, Oregon State, Beaver baseball fans, NC State, Maryland, UCLA, Boston College, UW, really? Villanova, UNLV, Wichita State, DePaul, University of Nevada, University at Buffalo, George Washington University, Ohio University, Loyola University Chicago, High Point University, and, of course, UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Now, some of those we don't have to compete with on football, obviously. So they're non-factor, nothing to worry about. If a player is interested in UW and Oregon State, and their collectors are both represented by the same entity, how does that get handled? Are we pit against one another internally to drive down a player's market value, to drive up the price point of a player's market value? Do they selectively decide where the effort was going to go forward based upon the needs of a program or the resources available of a university? That is a conflict of interest. That is very, very, very concerning, because if you see anything that resembles a little bit of suspicion around how did that happen, and you look at this roster and all of the involved parties are listed there, you're going to have to wonder how that decision was made and the intent behind the decision-making factors.
And look, we're just asking questions here, but I think that the fans deserve a level of transparency about why this deal was made. And yes, I understand that Kyle was brought into the athletic department, but this deal was made so soon after that decision was made to bring Kyle into the athletic department that it doesn't seem like to me like they were interested at all in trying to find someone else affiliated with Oregon State in any way, whether a fan or an alumni or a booster, to run Damnation. It seems like the deal was almost brokered before they offered Kyle a position within the university. It was just made so soon. The other thing that I have a lot of questions about, so there's an article that was written about Blueprint's affiliation with the University of Nevada at Reno. And that article references that Blueprint gets a 20% commission on every NIL deal that they broker. And so just taking a step back here.
Well, at a minimum, though, right? That could be just negotiated with Nevada.
Right. So they have right. That's true. So
they could be negotiated differently, higher or lower for other schools, but still, that's just like a benchmark of public information then.
Yeah. And going back to your point, what would be their incentive, right? If it's between UW and Oregon State, their incentive is to drive up that market price, right? Like the more they drive it up, the more money they get. And if you just take a look at Maalik Murphy, now the rumors were that the deal was worth $1.5 million. So, okay. So if they broker that deal, then they get $300,000. And that's $300,000 that's coming out of my pocket, out of your pocket, out of our listeners' pockets. And I don't know. I mean, I get that they do this for other schools, but it just seems like a really quick decision that Oregon State made, and one that Oregon State needs to be thinking outside of the bubble. And they're putting themselves at a disadvantage right now when it comes to NIL. And that's the thing that we've all worried about the most is
when you
how
align
is Oregon
yourself,
State gonna
how are you gonna compete in this market though? I agree. And that's what I'm saying is if you align yourself, you arms over your shoulders or each other's shoulders kind of like presentation of us, sub, UCLA, we're all the same. We all have the same collective pretty much. So who's it gonna be? And then the collective sit in the back going like, who's it gonna be? Right? They're doing the whole Birdman like around the corner with they're rubbing their hands. And of course they're gonna wait to see how it all pans out, but you don't think that they're gonna infuse a little bit to try to inflate that negotiation? Because if UCLA's got $2 million to spend and UW's got $3 million to spend, and Oregon State's coming in and as a favorite as $1.75 million to spend, that's a big cut difference from what Blueprint could take off the top of those deals. So are they going to go back to Oregon State and be like, what you got? You're the favorite, but if you can't do it, UCLA's got $2 million and we're going to have them, they're going to go there. And then Oregon State goes, no, we can't do $2 million. Then they go to UCLA and they go, hey, UCLA, you really want this guy? Well, UW wants to offer him $3 million. What do you got? Dig deep. And then UCLA goes, okay, fine, we can do 3.25. And then they go to UW and UW goes, we can do 3, 4, whatever. Like there's, the negotiation goes back and forth. But as that negotiation gets puppeteered, there's one entity that truly benefits other than the player maybe. But these aren't player agents. These are university-associated collectives, all run by one conglomerate company that runs a dozen or more collectives. And that's just the listed roster, which I believe now, if I look back, Oregon State's not even listed as a partner.
This shows how much they care about us.
A month ago.
Yeah.
Digging further in this situation, you have to wonder how it came to be so quickly, right? I think that's the mystery we were talking about and alluding to at the beginning as we were trying to
put the pieces together.
Yeah, and question out loud to put the pieces together. Why did we select Blueprint Sports? I personally don't think they're doing much of anything at this point. And yes, it's the time of the year where there's not a whole lot to do. But I'm not talking about acquiring players. I'm talking about galvanizing community, fans, getting people involved and excited to be involved. And there's just a lot of reposts on social media of our official accounts. There's just a very bot-like, it's game day. No clear passion or affinity for Oregon State. And so
it's something that you would expect from a corporation to come in and run an organization that was run by fans and alumni before.
Yes. So digging around to figure out why them, what was the expectation? I noticed a trend, and I alluded to you earlier, but one thing stuck out to me. When the announcement was made, I was looking high and low for non-official channels from the athletic department that discussed their excitement or their expectations or their rationale about this change, because it, to be honest, fell out of the blue. Nothing really aligned directly to the fact that, hey, we just needed new owners for our collective because our current president of the collective is now in-house and cannot run both. It was like about trying to find a partner for sale to run it and expand it. And, it was very business speak from every angle. And I wanted to see what are the people saying? None of the faceless entities. Like, what are the people saying? And I found one thing right away. And it was fairly new, executive deputy athletic director, chief operating officer, Brent Blaylock's post. And I vividly remember reading this, and it was the only thing I could find on LinkedIn. It's the only thing I could find on social media, that it was a individual within the department, within the collective, who publicly acknowledged the transaction. And Brent Blaylock wrote, "For Oregon State Athletics to be our best, we need to work with the best. Rob Sign, Jerry Dickey, Lane Werner, and the entire Blueprint sports team bring an expertise that will immediately enhance how we meaningfully engage with our incredible fans and best support our student athletes. And change is challenging, blah, 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 blah. Great partnerships, blah, blah, blah." Whoa, this was very terrible corporate speak to begin with. We'll bring in expertise that will immediately enhance how we meaningfully engage. This is like literally what I have heard chief marketing officers write before they get fired. Before they get fired for being bad at their job. It's deja vu.
We'll drive results.
We're going to meaningfully drive results and tell our story to our passionate fans and customers who we love. Like, bro, this is ridiculously bad worded, and I just like ignored it. I looked at it and go, okay, that guy, the new guy, he's the only guy who commented on this. Interesting. Well, as time's gone on, I've done a little more research, Benny.
Yeah, just the detective hat is on.
Detective hat is on. This is my SF hat, but detective hat. Pretend it's a detective hat. So, Benny, I got a question for you. Do you remember when we spoke to the university about our NIL efforts very early on in the NIL era?
I do.
The first, maybe at the university, to be honest.
I do remember that.
Utilize NIL for the benefits of the athletes. When we spoke to when we spoke to the university about their marks, who owned them?
Learfield Sports.
Learfield owns the entirety of all of our marks, other than our retro Benny. Some other property owns that, actually, which is hilarious that we're just selling off everything that
our
represents
assets,
who we are. Yeah. But Learfield has total control over literally the entirety of our digital and physical product.
Anything branding wise is Learfield.
Anything branding wise. If there's a uniform that appears in a video, who owns the rights to that video?
Yeah, it's Learfield.
If a logo is in the background, like that thing, the growler back there, technically, who can claim the rights to this video?
Yeah.
Or at least make it, shut it down. Learfield.
Right.
Learfield has total control. They are control freaks.
We have learned this firsthand.
They charge an arm and a leg to even do anything that could maybe benefit the student athlete, especially if they know there's a channel for them to make money.
That's exactly right.
Their business. I don't truly blame them. I hate the way that they came about their assets by building websites for sports or athletic departments back in the early 2000s and making them sign on the dotted line that they can own everything digital in order to make this website for them. And now they own it all.
Sneaky.
But Learfield's impossible to do anything with. Actually, it's been said multiple times by Damnation's old partners that their partnership with Learfield was something worth celebrating, was something impactful, was something that was a win for fans, for the collective, and even more so for the student athlete, because that meant they had rights to use the mark. Well, there's one thing that's been missing lately from Research Stadium that used to be there. Do you know what it is?
No. Enlighten us, JP.
There is no damnation marketing within the stadium anymore.
It's true.
Which is odd. Also, unsure why. I would imagine the university would want to promote their collective, to better their athletic department funds, to better their athletic department resources, to better the experience of their athletic department student athletes.
Free marketing. Who do you think is donating to the damn collective?
Right.
Everybody that's at the stadium. Yeah.
But there's no more signage, there's no more marketing, and maybe it just costs too much to do. That could be the flip side. Maybe Damnation's new owners with Blueprint decided, hey, that's too expensive, Learfield. We don't want to pay you to put up advertisements in the stadium. Not worth it, or just too much money. I don't know the answer about why it's not there, but it's not there. Learfield owns everything that goes in there. The university is partnered now and somehow selected Blueprint to be the new owner of Damnation. And then here's where it gets tricky. Remember with Blaylock in his post, the only one I found from an Oregon State rep about the Blueprint team acquiring the collective? Well, the first name he listed in that list of names is the CEO of Blueprint Sports. Well, when any deal is done or anything good happens to a company, most executives thank the CEO. That's the way it rolls, right? Which is why most of the blame goes on the CEO too, Trent Bray.
Yep. He's not a CEO, though.
He's not the CEO. He doesn't want to be a CEO. Barnes, if you're going to be the CEO of our athletic department, blame's on you too. But also, so comes the praise. First name, Rob Sine. Rob Sine. Guess what? Did you know he was a Pac-12 guy? He was a Pac-12 vice president of nothing specific. It just says vice president, which I think is hilarious. When you're just like, just don't worry what my actual responsibilities are. Just vice president. But
that sounds good.
Yeah, well, and a Larry Scott run Pac-12, he was probably tossing titles out left and right. And this guy, Rob Stein, got one called vice president of just literally just nothing. Vice president. He was there for 3 years. After that, he joined as the president of Learfield IMG College Ticket Solutions. So Learfield based or Learfield affiliated company, I'd have to imagine. It was the company that helped outsource college athletics tickets. And supposedly he says that he managed all revenue, cost-focused functional areas such as finance, marketing, sales, IT, legal, and HR for the joint venture between Endeavor, IMG, and Learfield. Either way, Learfield, the same criminals that we're talking about who rob people blind just to use marks of a century-old institution whose marks they stole blindly. He ran that from July 15 to June of 18. So about 3 years. Exactly 3 years, I guess. For rounding up. Took a little hiatus with AXS as a CRO, Chief Revenue Officer, before becoming the CEO of Blueprint Sports.
Yeah, there's a problem there.
Now, Brent Blaylock posted about him as like a congratulatory post. Before Oregon State, Blaylock came from the University of Arizona. And I remember us messaging each other about this hire because when he came here in May of 2024, he came from an athletic department in massive disarray.
Yeah, they were. They still are.
Huge problems at the University of Arizona, especially back in 2024.
Yeah, not exactly financially savvy.
And definitely not financially savvy. He was, when he left, this senior associate athletic director, administration and institutional control. Prior to that, he was an athletic director or associate athletic director in compliance. But either way, there's an overlap here between him and Rob sign at Learfield. And Rob signs time at Learfield and Blueprint, during Blaylock's time at Arizona and signs time at Learfield. Blueprint later had acknowledged that there is a program that they're running for tickets, which is what Rob Sign was doing at Learfield, to be have a platform where they can be donated back to collectives so that collectives could resell them for financial gain. Not a bad idea. Unless you're an insider doing this, and it feels a little bit like insider trading. And guess which school partnered with Blueprint to do this whole ticket trade back NIL program?
Yeah.
Arizona. Now let's go even deeper. Because Arizona joins up with this whole ticket partnership deal, and it feels a lot like nepotism in a way. Like, hey, we know each other. Let's just do what we want. They were one of 11 ish schools that were part of this initial launch, including some of the ones that I named earlier: Penn State, Arkansas, UW, NC State. There's some names not on here anymore, or not on the roster at least anymore. Maybe they're just not there by design, that are in this list. One of them's University of Arizona, one's University of Colorado, but Maryland and Boston College, et cetera, are still there. Now, Brent Blaylock leaves Arizona athletics. He comes to Oregon State. 4 months later, a deal is brokered for Blueprint to take over our collective, an acquisition. And again, to remind you that it was very much public by Brent Blaylock to acknowledge Rob Sign, Jerry Dickey, and Lane Werner about the partnership.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Blueprint, when they announced the deal, acknowledged Brent Blaylock.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. That's where it got fishy. It got weird. Rob Sign, CEO of Blueprint Sports, past president of Learfield Tickets, blah, 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 past vice president of something at Pac-12, posted after the acquisition was officially announced by Damnation's social media channels. Back to my Pac-12 roots with this partnership. Clapping hands. Very cool. Very cool, Rob. Clapping hands emoji. The vision and leadership of Brent Blaylock and the Oregon State University Athletics Department. I feel like it's F. All right. So
let's break this down.
Break it down.
Let's break this down. So Brent Blaylock and Rob Sign worked together when Rob Sign was at Learfield and Brent Blaylock was at Arizona. Brent Blaylock then comes over to Oregon State as what is essentially the assistant athletic director.
He's second in command. Absolutely.
He's second in command. And then Kyle from Damnation is brought internally to work in the Oregon State athletic department. And within, I don't know the exact time frame, but not long, Blueprint is announced as the company that's going to be taking over control of that collective. And that's run by Rob Sign. So to me, and this might be putting on a tinfoil hat, is that Brent Blaylock all along was planning on bringing in Blueprint to run the collective. Now, is that true? I don't know. I don't have any evidence, but I think
under what intentions?
Right. And you have to wonder, is that something that is in the best interest of Oregon State?
Bingo.
Or is it, like you said, is it nepotism? And is there, I'm not saying that it's quid pro quo, but is it something that Brent Blaylock is doing for a buddy that he used to work with, right? And Brent Blaylock hasn't been at Oregon State long enough for me to feel like he has a true allegiance to the university. It's who he works for at this point. Now, if he stays here for years and years and years and years, it's different. But he just walked in the door, basically,
and he's turning over couches and tables.
Yeah, blew up the collective and gave control of it to somebody who, at the very least, he knows and has worked with.
Yeah,
but
he
the
definitely
fact
knows
that they're
Rob. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to assume he knows Rob.
yeah,
They're the only two names that are publicly linked.
yeah, and the fact that they're sucking each other's dick on their
LinkedIn.
social medias,
LinkedIn.
it makes it even more suspicious. And again, I go back to the fact of, like, why did we not look to continue the damn collective with somebody else who's affiliated with Oregon State? Why are we now willing to pay 20% of any NIL deal brokered, or around 20% of any NIL deal brokered, to a company that is not affiliated with Oregon State when that wasn't being done before? It just seems like this is a deal that benefits Brent Blaylock and Rob Sign.
Rob Sign went
not Oregon State
to Penn State.
It does not pass the smell test, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't pass the smell test and I haven't looked deep enough, but this is enough for me to be like, what else is out there? Why is this the case? Like, to me, this is like people who were not good at covering their own tracks and instead decided, I would rather puff my chest and pat myself on the back than worry about anyone asking questions. It just feels so blatant that there must be more versus like somebody else in the athletic department acknowledging Rob Sign or Rob Sign acknowledging anybody else in the athletic department.
Like,
hey, Rob,
the athletic director?
Where is our athletic director in your acknowledgement? You don't have to tag everybody you mentioned. You can literally type names. They don't have to be at signs. Rob. Yeah. I don't know if they taught you that at UNC or where you get or at Arizona where you got your master's or wherever the hell else you went to school. But like,
it just doesn't seem right. Like there's something fishy there, and maybe we're wrong. Maybe this is just a happenstance and it happened and it's coincidence, but it doesn't seem like
Prove me wrong then. Yeah. Prove me wrong by showing. We talked about this before. We talked about this on social media. The only people who can save the Beavs from the trajectory they're on, not just as a football program, but in general, it's clearly has to be people who bleed black and orange.
Yeah.
That's it. That is it. It is not people who bleed money from their bi-monthly paycheck. It is people who have nothing else to lose except for everything by being affiliated with the university. I feel it. We went there. I'm sure people who grew up fans of the university feel it too. It's a different level of passion. Sure, mm-hmm. I love my company. Benny, you've worked for a couple companies in the last year and a half. You probably love them while you're there because you feel this nationalism that you kind of have to, and it feels good to like the thing you're doing, right? Like it's just normal human nature. But it's not the same level of something that you're not paid for. That you're devoted to, that you've signed a lifelong contract and blood for, and you don't know why you've done it. You just did it and you agree with it and you still believe it. And I just feel like the athletic department felt as if it was going too far away from that level of passion, or not at least listening to that level of passion of people who do have it, that have the ears of those decision makers within the athletic department.
I guess
now this whole thing makes me feel like, it's actually going to accelerate further. Worse.
Yeah, I guess the questions that I would ask to the athletic department if they would ever sit down would be,
Sarah did. What? Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah did.
Would love to talk to you again, Sarah.
Would be, what makes Blueprint a better option than running things through a Beaver?
What makes it the best option? I don't want the better of two bad options. I'm not saying the damnation V1 was a bad option, but I'm saying I don't want the better of two bad options. I want the best option.
Yeah.
The best option. And so what makes it the best? It's been quiet. There's been nothing about here is what Blueprint and Damnation are up to. Here are some things that Damnation and Blueprint want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
No one's asking the question of like, where are you? What are you doing? Right? Like nobody.
I think it just spells disaster for Oregon State going forward. Like we said at the beginning, Oregon State's fundraising for NIL, I can only imagine that it's down right now. We don't need to be paying another 20% out to a company that has no affiliation with the university.
Oh, we don't want to dig in this now. It's late. It's long. If Brent Blaylock is the sole direct line to the now Blueprint-owned Damnation Collective, I know from things spoken or unspoken, he is not a favorite. Not to attack the dude, but I'm just saying not a favorite in the sense of feeling like his interests are aligned with the rest of the department. And that is a casualty waiting to happen.
Giant red flag. Red flag.
If we're not all aligned, from players to agents to coaches to support staff to creative teams to social media to athletic departments, all the way up to the head athletic director, Scotty Barnes. Where the hell are you, bro?
Yeah.
It is a catastrophe in the making. Right now, not to be a doomsayer, prepare yourselves. I feel like the outcomes are not looking better to solve the Band-Aid level issues right now.
Well, and the other thing is like Oregon State, it feels like they're selling out right now. I mean, Learfield's been involved with Oregon State for years, but now we're selling out our collective. Like you want to keep those things close to you. You want to have control over your assets. You want to have control over how you raise money and how much commission the people are getting, or no commission like we had before. It doesn't pass the smell test.
I'll publicly invite Brent Blaylock to come on the pod. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's chat. I'm nothing against him, but right now my tinfoil hat internet research makes me feel uncomfortable with the arrangement, with the progress of the athletic department. And I would gladly, with open arms, welcome him on here to just
answer some questions.
Give us everything from his perspective. I don't have to ask him anything. Lay it out. But right now, I haven't heard one peep from Brent Blaylock since he congratulated Rob Stein on the whole partnership 4 weeks ago. In the midst of all this current chaotic situation, that's the last thing he's posted.
Yeah.
Where are your intentions, bro? I don't know.
It is something worth thinking about for sure. If you're an Oregon State fan, it's a massive part of the success of the athletic department is how much we can raise. I shouldn't say how much we can raise. How much money can we give players to come here? And right now, the money that we can give players doesn't directly correlate with the money that we raise. And I think that's a problem.
Yeah. And it's not even something that we should be saying we have to raise the money to have good players, but we need to be able to trust all institutions involved with building a successful program. Used to be you could pin all your hate, all your blame on the insiders, the athletic directors. You go, they're screwing it all up, right? Like, they hired bad coaches, they haven't improved facilities, whatever. But now you've got a private, unaffiliated organization dictating the success of our athletic programs, because we all know it is a pay-to-play product now. That's it.
And they're not just the ones that are brokering deals. They're the ones that are responsible for the actual fundraising too. And that's another thing we can get into on another episode. But like that, they're in charge of the fundraising. And that is
imagine
also
Kyle Bjornstad going to a local business and saying, hey, remember, I went to Oregon State. I've played on these programs. I've worked through development at the university or at the OSU Foundation, and now I am running this thing out of my passion, love, and necessity to help facilitate the right movement forward for Oregon State. I need you, business, to be involved, and here's the things you get out of it. Explained as an ex-athlete from there, right? Like, he could speak that language and bridge that gap.
I don't much better than a salesman from Blueprint.
Yeah, what does Rob Stein know about Corvallis?
Yeah,
he was a group ticket salesperson for the Blazers 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What does he know about Corvallis? What does he know about the people, the businesses, the reason why students go there, the reason why athletes want to play there? I don't know if there's anything at all. That is a problem. Even if he's not the one negotiating and brokering deals, that is a problem. And I think it needs to be questioned way more.
100%.
Way more. One thing that doesn't need to be questioned is the fact that I think we're all walking back. Well, you guys predicted an L against Oregon, you freaking traitors, you
fake ass fans.
You fake ass fans. I predicted a win against Oregon. I still stand by my rationale why. That Maalik Murphy will have the game of his life, and that will be the only reason why we win. I still think that is maybe the only reason we will win, if there is one. I don't think even the game of his life is going to be a likely reason that we would have an outcome of a victory. So I'm walking it back. Again, Duck fans.
That's fair.
Just flourish, live your life, be so happy that this shitty Beaver podcast talked about you. You're lucky. Thanks for watching us on YouTube, which you all seem to do every week as Duck fans. However, I think that we're good to just sign off there. That's it. That's it.
Yep.
Find Benny L on social media. And guess what? This is like a Where's Waldo closing. You have to just find him in the crowd. Find me in the crowd on social media. My name is JP. It's 2 letters. It may be just those 2 letters. It may be some other way of explaining those 2 letters. It may not even be including both letters. But you can find me on social media as well, if you dare. And follow us on social media. We might be Belligerent Beavs. We might be a French version of Belligerent Beavs. If you can find us, it's like, Where's Waldo? Good luck. And also give us a 5-star review because we're really fun. And when Terry's not here and we get 5-star reviews, he gets so mad.
Oh,
really mad.
Give us one, please.
So if you give us a 5-star review and say, I loved this episode with the 2 hosts, JP and Benny, the guys who play Where's Waldo on social media, Terry will love it. He will love it and he will hate it. And we may never have another episode again, but it's worth it. Please do it. 5 stars on all your channels that you get your podcasts, like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can't find
the podcast app.
In the podcast app. There's a podcast app now. Did you guys know? I didn't know that. Did you guys know there's a Beaver mobile or Beavs mobile powered by T-Mobile? You can actually have a Beavs mobile cellular plan. Everything is coming full circle, dude. This is 2006 all over again, where anyone can start a mobile network. But one thing you can't start is a podcast called Belligerent Beavs because we already did it. And give us a follow, give us 5 stars, follow us or subscribe on YouTube if you're watching us. Hello, subscribe. And then what else can we do? Oh, we have merch. We have Bray area merch. If you want it, it's still there. We're trying to sell the surplus, so just buy it, just in case things turn around. It's like buying a guy's rookie card when they're low and they're demoted, and you go, "Oh, this is cheap." And buying that rookie card, and then all of a sudden, boom! He's
like
hitting
a stock,
hitting 50 dingers for the Mariners. All right, so come on, buy the merch. Maybe we'll make more. Maybe we won't. We were mid almost lawsuit, but not really. So we're trying to keep it cool. You understand? And I think Terry is on here, but his social medias are just his name. He's pretty straightforward. So find him like Waldo Horseman. That's his social media
Horseman.
handle. Yeah. And Remember. You can't spell chop 'em without hope. So, Benny, take it.
Chop 'em. Chop 'em.
Chop 'em.
Beavs back, baby. And Brent Blaylock, the invitation is there. Cut.